Welcome to the fourth lesson. It's taken me a while to get around to this, so I'm sorry that it has, but thank you for bearing with me. As you can see, I'm on a little bit bigger harp today. I wanted to use this for two reasons. First of all, I wanted you to hear the difference between a smaller harp and a larger harp. Also want to just take a couple minutes to just show you the difference between the two. Obviously the size is a difference, but also from this string down, this octave here is not on the lower harp. So the nice thing about this is that you have nice deep bass notes. So you hear that wah, wah, wah. And that just has a nice anchoring sound. I don't like to use the bass notes a lot because it can get kind of muddy because they keep going for quite a while. This one, you can still hear this bottom C going. But it's nice to have those bass notes to put some foundation into the music. So I just wanted to demonstrate that for you while we've got the big harp. We'll probably do most of the rest of the lessons on this bigger harp now. As you can see, I also have more levers, so it has more options for different keys. Today I wanted to get into the subject of, okay, I heard a great song on the radio, or I have a favorite worship song, and I can't get the music to it, or I can't read music, or how can I work that song out and play it on the harp? So that's what we're going to primarily deal with today. I'm going to stick with the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star that we used a couple times ago, just for demonstration purposes, but then you can take what I do with this and you can start to work it into some other ideas that you have. So first of all, let's take the song Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So I'm going, okay, twinkle, 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 twink, twink. Okay, well, twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. Okay, here, twinkle, 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 little star. Okay, well, there you go. Now I've got it. So, whoops, let's try it again. Whoops, that note doesn't fit. What do we need to do with that? It needs to be higher, doesn't it? So that's what these sharpening levers are for. So now let's try it. Well, that fits. Okay, so, well now, let's figure out, so what key would that be and what chord would I play with that? Let's see. Well, we could try, since we're playing the D note here, we could try playing the D chord along with it and see if that works. So, whoops. Oh, remember, we had to make an F sharp here. So let's make an F sharp down here. In fact, before we forget, let's make F sharps all the way down here and all the way up, okay? So now let's try it again. Whoops. So what was wrong with that? That's an A chord there. So that sounds like we need to make that a C sharp. Okay, let's try that up here too then. And so we'll hit all of our C sharps, okay? So now what we've just done is we've demonstrated that we need to have, we're going to play this in the key of D. So we've learned something else too. If we're going to play in the key of D, then we need a F sharp, and we also need a C sharp. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting. Now, some of you are probably saying, well, wait, I don't have sharpening levers. I just have a harp that is just tuned in C, so now what am I supposed to do? Well, let's take a look at this. If we're in the key of D, and we want to go to the key of C, that's only one step away, right? Well, let's try this. Now we also know that the key of C doesn't have sharps and flats. That's what you were just asking me. So let's take the sharps and flats off. The sharps, let's just say. I'm going to leave my, like I've demonstrated when in the tuning, I'm going to leave my B flat sharped up to B natural. So, but what we have is all natural notes. Okay. So let's get this all set here. So we're going to take the sharps off. Alright, so now we have all the natural notes, just the white keys on the piano. And so let's take this song that we just figured out in the key of D, and let's move it one step down. So it's now in C. So every note we play is going to be just one step lower, and every chord we play is just going to be one step lower. Okay? So let's start it again. Okay, so now what we've done, instead of playing the D chord and jumping up to the G chord and going down to the A chord, we're moving it down one step. Instead of D, we go to C. Instead of G, we go to F. And instead of A, we go to G. Okay? You understand that now? So we can, let's, I used to start, when I was starting to play the harp, I started working with simple worship songs, and, like This Is the Day. So that one worked out. I kind of already cheated because I had played it so many times. I knew it started with C. But let's say you started it up here on the G. Oops, there we need the sharp. So if we were playing the, well, that sounds like the G chord works because we're starting with the G and we tried going with that chord. So we're playing in the key of G. Oops, we need to break that F sharp. Okay. So that goes to the C chord. Now let's just take a look at the C. The key of G. We're now playing in the key of G. Remember, I showed you C, but we jumped up, starting with the C, 1, 2, 3, 4 notes to G. So G is in the 4th place here. So that means our chords are going to move up. So instead of playing the C chord, we're going to play the G chord. When we play the G chord, it's going to jump up 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be the D chord now. And instead of the G chord, when we were playing in the key of C, we go, instead of the F chord, F chord, we go 1, 2, 3, 4 up there to the C chord. So everything remains in the same relative position no matter what key you're in. The only thing you're really changing is your sharpening levers. And if you start to figure out a song and you run into one that, oh no, that needs to be sharp, and oh no, that needs to be sharp as well, then you can automatically, just by knowing what key you just figured it out in, you can move it down into the key of C if you don't have sharpening levers, or you can set your sharpening levers to come into the key that you just figured it out in. A lot of times when I'm playing with a worship band or something, and they don't have music in front of me, and sometimes they'll ask me if I want music, and I'll tell them, it just gets in my way, and it's kind of true for me. They'll forget to tell me what key they're in, and so I'm listening, and I get the melody line, and then I find out what sharps they've got in there, and within 4, 5, 6 measures of their song, I've hit my sharpening levers, and I'm playing along with them, even without them telling me what key they're in, because once I figure out what sharps are there in the melody line that they're playing, then everything else falls into place. All your harmonies are the same, everything. Now you can have some fun with these keys as well. And let me just demonstrate something for you there. I'm going to take all the sharps off again, and we'll do a little more figuring out here. It's actually kind of fun once you start getting into it. So let's start this Twinkle Twinkle Little Star out with the E note. Okay, so oops, let's sharp that. So let's put all the other F's in there. Well, now we have kind of a fun little thing going on. We've taken a song that was played initially in the major key, and we're now going to put it into a minor key. So let's see what it sounds like now. See how that totally changes the nature of the song? It's really the same finger positions, it's the same relative notes to each other, but we started it with the note of E, and because in the C major cluster of chords, E is a minor, that puts the whole song into a minor. Now that can be kind of fun, and you can actually do some really interesting compositions, or one of the lessons down the road is I'm going to talk about how to do background music to stories or things where you can help create the mood. And so if there's kind of a sad point or a tense point, going to a minor be real serious, you hit that bass note and you just let that ring for a while. So that's kind of just a little introduction to using minors for some effect. Now remember, let me take the sharps off again, and I want to just remind you, I think we covered this a little bit, but it's going to be good to cover it several times because it takes a while to pick this up. First of all, let's just go back to the key of C. We have 3 major chords that are in the key of C. So first of all, it's going to be C. Remember, a chord is the note that you're calling it C chord, and then you skip a string, play the next one, skip one, and play the next one. Okay, so that's the C chord. Now within the C cluster, there's also the F chord. And there's also, that's F major, and then there's the G major, and then back to the C. And so a lot of songs are based on So that was using the 3 chords in a song that I just made up in my head right then. But that's a lot of songs follow that pattern, or they'll go to the G first, then play the F, or play the F first and go to the G. But you have those 3 basic chords in a basic song, and we just showed that with the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Now we also have 3 other chords. There's other chords like sevenths and diminished, and I've talked about this. We're not going to go there because the harp, at least the lever harp, is not going to have an easy time going with that. And the fact that you can use the minors just as effectively, I'm just going to concentrate on the minors. So don't think that I don't know about other types of chords and things. We're just going with what works for the harp. Okay? If you're playing a guitar, you're going to play some of those other chords, and that's fine. But anyway, you have 3 other minor chords within the C cluster. There's the D minor, and then there's the E minor that we just demonstrated with the Twinkle Twinkle in the minor. And then there's the A minor. Okay, so those are your 3 minor chords. So a lot of times you'll end up putting a minor in, and it gives and it kind of picks the music up a little bit. And I'm just trying to think of a song off the top of my head. You hear that minor chord, that A minor in there, just kind of picks that up a little bit instead of just playing. So I go ahead and stick that minor there. So it gets just a little bit more fullness. But not all songs are meant to have a minor in there. So it's just, a lot of it has to do with how the song is written. But just don't be afraid to play with the minors. Don't be afraid to put... And a lot of times if you're playing along and one of the 3 major chords isn't fitting the tune that you're hearing, start thinking about, well, maybe I need to use one of the minors in there. And I'm just... So let me just try to think of a good example of that. See, there's a song, Come to the Water. It's an old song. Maybe some of you might know it. I don't know. You said you'd be there. That doesn't fit. G doesn't fit. Be there. F doesn't fit either. So let's try it. You said you'd be there. Oh, the A minor fits there. To share all my sorrow. So we need an A minor to fill out the chords there. So if the 3 majors aren't fitting into your song, play around with the minors and see if that one of those might fit in there too. And I just want to hit this again. Don't be afraid to play around. Play. It's called playing the harp, playing a piano, playing a guitar. So play with it. Have some fun and experiment. Now, one of the things that, and this is kind of going off of what I've been still talking about, a lot of times people come and I'll let them be playing the harp and say, I can't find that note. And, and the main reason is because they probably are in a different key and they haven't thought about hitting any of the sharpening levers. And so if you need to be, so just that's a half step note. If you're playing a tune and you're a half step off, if you remember to hit that, then that solves your problem of where is that note. So a lot of times this where is that note issue is the fact that you've moved it into a different key than what you're tuned to. And so what you want to do is just fish around a little bit and find out, okay, oh yeah, I need that F sharp. Oh yeah, I do need that C sharp. Okay, now it's working. Okay. Alright, now I know I'm in the key of D, or now I know I'm in the key of G. And if I want to bring it to the C, then I need to move up 4 steps or down 1 step, or, like we talked about. So I just want to, I hope I'm not overwhelming you with these ideas, because the actuality is it's actually very simple. It's a matter of keeping, just a chord, C chord. And if you move all your fingers up, 1, 2, 3, you're now in the F chord. Now if we're going to play in the key of F, then what was the F is 1, 2, 3. That's now B, so we're going to play. Whoops, that doesn't sound right. Oh, here's what we need to do for F. We find out that we need to take the B flat. We mean take the B natural off and bring it down to a B flat. So now we have and then what was, let's see, the C is our other chord. G was the chord, but now we move it up 3. Remember, we moved 1, 2, 3, so the G chord now goes up 1, 2, 3 to C. The F chord goes up 1, 2, 3 to B, and it's now a B flat because we took it off, and then we have the F. I like playing in the key of F because it brings in all of the solfeggio notes, and I have teaching on the solfeggio scale. In the hymn of St. John the Baptist, Gregorian chant, which was written around 1100 AD, it's one of the oldest songs that we still have music to, that that's in notation that we can read without special education. It is in the key of F, and it has all of these wonderful sounds to it. And then when we tune to the 444, like I've shown you, it brings the C into the 528, and everything else accompanies it harmonically. So I kind of like playing in the key of F myself. So if you have a harp without levers and you want to go to the key of F, all you have to do is tune your B to a B flat instead of a B natural. And so you can play around with that a little bit. I just feel like there's some really rich sounds in it. Psalm 61, and that's a lot of the work I've been doing with bringing the music out of the Psalms. I find that the key of F fits most of the Psalms very well. Out of the Psalms of Ascent. Anyway, I hope that I've given you enough to work on for another week or so, and I do appreciate you following us, and we'll be back with another lesson, number 5. in a week or so. Until then, keep on playing.